The next movie in Phase 3 of the MCU was Doctor Strange, and it came out in November of 2016, and I most recently watched this movie on January 14th, 2019. A few of the quotes and moments that really stood out to me is Strange's disability and his injury and grief, and how he kind of used it as a crutch to not believe in himself, and how he pushed Dr. Palmer away with that. Good general everyday advice: elevate your mind and your body and spirit will follow. So these next two quotes or moments are kind of related to each other, and I'll get into the main topic that I want to discuss. The first one is when the Ancient One is telling Mordo, "We never lose our demons, Mordo. We only learn to live above them." And the scene that really stood out and spoke to me, although I didn't recognize it the first time I saw it, I did recognize that it was a beautifully crafted scene. But I didn't really think about it and interpret it until recently. And that is the Ancient One's death, and how Doctor Strange is there comforting her and trying to talk to her before she passes. And he says, "I'm not ready." And she replies, "No one ever is. We don't get to choose our time. Death is what gives life meaning. To know your days are numbered. Your time is short. You'd think after all this time I'd be ready. But look at me. Stretching one moment out into 1,000 just so that I can watch the snow." This is probably the part where I say that this should come with a trigger warning. I will be talking about death and suicidal thoughts, the dark stuff, the scary stuff. So, if this is too much, then click away. Anyway, getting into it, I don't even know where to begin. I've been dealing with suicidal thoughts since at least around middle school, and that carried on throughout high school and college. But the intensity changed every time, and I never attempted suicide. I never wrote out, my last letter or will and testament, or I never even thought about how I would carry it out. But I do remember when I first mentioned this to my therapist, how at the time it wasn't so much wanting suicide, but just wanting to disappear. And all my friends and family's problems would be gone. And that problem was me. I used to, and every now and then, think of myself as a waste of space, a waste of energy, matter, resources, a waste of time. So for the past few years, I have been hating life, and I still kind of do. I used to comfort myself with food. Had a bad day? Let's get some food. Had a good day? Let's get some food. The usual, food never gets mad at you, food never talks back. Trying to fill an emptiness that wasn't my stomach. But eventually that turned into a lie. Whenever I would order food, I would order more than any single person should. It wasn't because I was really hungry, or because I had an especially good or bad day, or that I didn't want to be an adult and just cook my own food. I was specifically trying to screw myself and my body over. It's not like I didn't know how many calories, sugars, fats, sodiums, etc. was in what I was consuming. I knew. And at some point, you just don't have to count anymore. And I didn't care. And now I'm kind of paying for it, but that's a conversation for another time. Looking at it now, it can probably be considered a form of self-harm. I'm not proud of that. Sure, I could have turned into more reckless habits such as hard drugs, alcohol, or cutting myself, but, you know, getting fatter over time just seemed easier to hide than jumping right into something more extreme. I used to make this joke that I wouldn't make it past 30. None of my friends found it funny. And I'm not sure if it's because it was more annoying than it was concerning, or if it was because I joked about death. And I think I used to make this joke because I think I accepted my death earlier than I should have. It's not like I had just recently learned that everyone dies, or that the only thing guaranteed in life is death, or I just realized my own mortality. If I get put into a position where I need to fight for my life, I'm not going to fight as hard as I should. And that kind of scares me. I think it's more natural to be scared of death. Sure, maybe if or when I get to that point, I'll change my mind. But as it stands, I'm not as scared as I should be. Or at least I don't think I am. I guess that's kind of why I liked the Ancient One's death scene, where she's trying to make her moments last. Even though she's been alive for, I think, thousands of years, she still wants to witness or experience her last moments, and I kind of hope I feel that way when I get to that point. Because then it means I lived a good life, or I valued my life. I could never pull a trigger or hang myself or cut myself to commit suicide, but I could eat myself to death. And that doesn't mean I'm trying to live a reckless life, but whatever happens, happens. But to kind of bring it back to a more neutral note, I guess, is, and back to the movie, I liked the reminder that, we only learn to live above our demons. Because I'm trying to kind of fix my life. I still deal with some of these thoughts, and I'm going to continue dealing with them for a long time. It's a lot of deprogramming. And part of me is worried that I'm doing what I'm doing just to hurt myself again. That I'm setting myself up just so I can fall harder when I should have stayed down. So I don't want to think I have this new lease on life. I like to think I'm still paying off the current lease and just breaking it in. If that makes any sense, but I got a long road ahead of me. Hopefully it's longer than I think. Good luck.